the day of event coverage. And so it's something that's obviously come into the sport. A lot of press about live streaming or YouTube and different options in terms of day of event coverage. Now we were supposed to have Dylan Bowman, who was going to join us virtually, but unfortunately we've not seen him. Can you see that?
It just looks the same as it did.
Yeah.
Earlier.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we will continue. We'll see if Dylan actually joined us or not. But if we could start with introductions. Yeah, Dan. Nobody knows you yet, so we'll start with you.
I've been hiding in the back.
Yeah.
That's this one?
Not good. Button.
Cool.
There we go.
There we go. Cool. Dan Ryan, Media Director for the Hard Rock 100 Endurance Run, and excited to be here to chat about live streams.
Cool.
I'm Jonathan. I think I've met a fair share of you. I'm the owner of Summit Run Co. We host about 10 events now over in Georgia and offer services to other as a partner, as a media partner as well. So, yeah.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much. Great to have you both here. If we could start with the first question we have set for you. What are the basic things needed for a successful live stream at an event? And then, if we start with that, kick us off.
The basic things, I think, basically an understanding of what you want to show, how you want to show it, and I think it starts before the event. Like, what are we gonna show? Like, what story are we trying to tell with this? Because if you just put a camera up to your finish line, maybe somebody's mom wants to see your child finish a race, but otherwise it's not very entertaining to watch. So I think about it as a whole. We can solve the technology side of it, but it's like, why are we doing this? Why are we investing our resources into getting this online and for people to view when it needs to be some substance there? What was the other part? Successful, make it successful. I think that's a lot of what it is.
Yeah.
In some substance.
Yeah.
Not just more things on the internet to look at.
Right. So I guess people may be thinking, what are the basic hardware pieces we need, as well as what's the story that we want to tell. But maybe that's where we start, and then it's like, okay, this is the story we want to tell, and then this are the basic hardware pieces we need to tell that story. So maybe expand on that.
Basic hardware. There are a lot of things. You can go really overboard with it. For starters, you need internet. You need solid internet. Very, very reliable. So with us, it's usually Starlink, or a mix of Starlink and some a bonded network, a cell network. If you don't know what that is, you can kind of look it up or ask one of us. Otherwise, somebody signs on to watch your stream, and maybe it's a really, really great production, but it just cuts in and out, or the resolution's too low. You don't want to watch it. So there's everything that goes into that as far as cameras and the bandwidth there and how you're transmitting it from whatever. But you need internet, and then a computer. Those are probably the real, like we're doing now. A computer sitting on a desk with the built-in camera, and it's being streamed. So there you go for live streaming. And then from there, it can get astronomical and exponentially grow all the parts of your system. But you have a computer, you have internet, you have a camera, and we're up running.
Right. Dan, anything to add to that from your perspective?
Yeah, in my opinion, I think you just need a solid internet connection, whether that be cell service or Starlink or some sort of bonded network, like Josh was saying. And you also need like an iPhone, right? You can start live streaming so basic with an iPhone and an Instagram account. You can put yourself online. You can start showing people the stories that you want to tell, just with those couple of basic things. And then, like you said, you can scale from there. I don't even think a computer is mandatory. It's helpful, definitely, for editing or putting overlays on screens. But if you want to, that's how we started it at Hard Rock in 2021 or 2. I was out there with my phone, and we were live streaming to Instagram. as much as we could. People are just excited to see the event happening. They don't particularly, at first they don't particularly care about what specific story they're looking for. It's just that I can see this event, that it's getting visibility, and that the information is being put out there on social media.
All right, cool, thank you so much. So next question, what are the pros and cons to a live stream versus a post-race recap on YouTube? So, there's different options that I think races have to how to present this. So if you could maybe share your experience of either of those options, and is there maybe another option that people could look at?
I think if you could do all of it, yeah, great. Like post-race recap, we do for every event. We have a media team, a videographer that makes some really awesome stuff, and that just goes into our YouTube channel as just general marketing content for that event specifically, but also I use a lot of, I have them send me all the clips. So I'll splice together footage of a runner running up a trail and can use that in many different ways. Like I said before, like if you have a really well-produced live stream, great. People don't typically go back and watch that over and over. So you need something that's a lot more exciting with some actual action happening and including interviews and things like that. So kind of a different thing there. The live stream is there for the immediacy of like what's happening on the ground of this race right now. And so I think are other things too. And then the short format, like Instagram Live, just tap in live, and you'll get probably a lot of views, and that's the easiest thing to do. But if you're not doing it, it should be done.
Right. Okay. Good suggestions. Yeah, I was thinking from your position then, you started, as you said, my phone being out on the course. So that must have, tell us a little bit about the kind of progression that you've gone through in terms of development for the coverage that you've developed.
Well, I think our biggest difficulty was the course itself. Recording, filming, and publishing in the San Juans is not a easy task. I'm sure a lot of people here are, have races in remote locations with minimal cell signal. So that was like the first part of the equation that needed to be handled was how do we get coverage in a gulch that's in the middle of nowhere. So the advent of Starlink, I think, is the biggest change to the live streaming puzzle that's happened over the past 3 or 4 years, as well as being able to stitch together different signals. We're lucky that we're able to partner with Mountain Outpost and put on the live stream that way. So I think that was the biggest technology change that happened was we brought in Jamil and his team, and they were able to help us really go to the next level. Lots of pro-level audio, lots of pro-level cameras, and then again, the advent of Starlinks and going out there in the field with Starlinks was just like the biggest single change, I think, in live streaming.
Yeah, but I was thinking cost of Starlink. I mean, for most races that are maybe smaller numbers and probably smaller budget, then obviously a Starlink really.
Smaller budget or not, if you don't own one, it's worth the investment. If you have a race on a trail with limited connectability, it's I think $250 for a mini.
Oh, is it?
I think
okay.
So maybe a little more.
Okay.
$50 a month for the basic service to keep it going.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, there's also a few companies out there that will rent them for a specific amount of time. So if you're cost conscious and you're looking at the fact that setup for Starlink, a camera and everything could be $1,000, and the data and just all of that stuff to integrate together with the Starlink.
Yeah.
You can rent this stuff for a pretty significant discount.
Right. Okay.
I'm happy to rent you some. I do have a couple ready to go.
There you go. Really?
I do.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So any of these guys out here coming from you?
Yeah, I don't know if shipping it back and forth is any more cost effective, to be honest.
And another thing that you can do is with your volunteer base. You can ask them. Usually, there's a couple people who are more than willing to bring their Starlink and volunteer for the use of the race. We do that with all of our aid stations. We ask people to bring Starlinks, and then we just set those up and use them across the course.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. So, did you have something to add?
No.
Okay. All right. So the next question was going to be specifically for Dylan, but unfortunately we don't have him on right at the moment. But I wonder if either of you could comment on this. So, hosting events and manages a media company. So I was thinking, Jonathan, you've come from a media company background, so maybe you have some experience in this. Where are the places you feel race directors can best optimize the media coverage surrounding the event? Yeah.
Dan might be better at answering this than I am, but it really starts before the race. Maybe you have an athlete that you want to follow in their training journey, or maybe they're already doing that and posting it, and you can ask them to become an ambassador for the race and show their training progress. That's simple. They're out there with their own device, kind of makes content, assuming it's decent content. Surrounding an event, optimizing media coverage surrounding an event. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll let Dan speak more to that.
Just working with your athlete pool before the event, I think is hugely important, right? You're going to have some pretty incredible stories that exist within your running pool, whether it be people's journey to ultra running, just information gathering prior to the event is one of the biggest things you can do. So we put out a Google survey, a very simple survey about like, why did you get into running? Why are you running? Who do you want us to say hi to on the live stream? So that way, when we come to the day of the event, all the way down to nitty-gritty details of what color t-shirt or jacket will you be wearing. So that way, when we don't have a good key in on their bib number, but we see bib maybe a 4 and maybe something else, we can look and see, okay, that person said they're going to be wearing a blue jacket. That's probably John Smith of Durango, Colorado, who is running. So we can talk about him and what's going on in his head as he's running, right? Because he's provided us that information.
Yeah. And even on a very, very local level, like I'm sure you have runners at your races that probably have a really incredible story. We've all probably known that, or you have your own stories. And if you just have a simple registration form, you're not going to know that until you start talking to them. Or if you have a form like that, and you'll see that, and you'll say, man, we've got to do something here. And that's why we're using technology is to tell that story. Right. Otherwise, maybe you're a friend of that person, or you're at the race, or you're at the finish line, and you're aware of that. And there's a special moment, like Mandy shows, moments of the hugs and like all the things that go into that. But the average person that might be spectating or just out there, it's like they don't know any of that. So, but within that is so much like just so much powerful that's a marketing tool, if nothing else, that we want to share, and share that eyes on and the ability to tell that story in real time.
Yeah, another thing to add, I think that race directors can do is kind of give their media team carte blanche access to the course, right? Some of the prettiest shots or prettiest opportunities aren't going to be at an aid station. Or you're not going to see the emotion come out at an aid station. Maybe you see something while you're hiding in the bushes out on the trail, right? You can see somebody's emotion. If there's cameras in the bushes, it's going crazy.
You didn't hear that here.
Yeah,
No.
but one thing that we do at Hard Rock also is like people who don't want covered, we designate them a different bib color. So that way, if somebody's not interested in being on the live stream, then we can make sure to preserve their privacy and their race experience. But other than that, just kind of giving more access and allowing more shots to happen across the course is probably something that race directors can do to get the most out of the live stream.
Okay. Apologies to Dylan Bowman. Apparently, the Canada invitation, or the invitation for him, was had the wrong time on. So I don't know if there was something that we did wrong in terms of sending the invitation out, or whether it was a time communication thing in terms of Zoom or whatever. But so Dylan was prepared to jump in, but it's going to take him a little bit to do that. And unfortunately, we'd be finished by the time he's ready to jump in. So sorry, Dylan. Okay, we'll do our best to hook up with you next time. But okay, are there any tips for beginners with no media experience when it comes to capturing event footage? Did you have experience in terms of capturing footage before you started this? No.
Nope, absolutely not. I think that the biggest thing is being willing to just shove a camera and
Right.
grab the camera, put it in somebody's close to their face, and ask them questions or be involved and be proactive in getting into an aid station, or obviously working with aid station staff to make sure that, hey, I'm not in the way here.
Right.
But putting a camera on a person and just being able to ask them questions and be one, respectful of their space, but also make sure that you're getting good quality content, right? We started with the Instagram and then moved into this space with Aravipa, and being able to get into an aid station and ask aid station volunteers, like, hey, what soup are you making? Or what sort of sandwiches are out here? Just asking them questions about them and their experiences is something that I think everybody needs to be comfortable with. Also, there has to be some comfort with diagnosing technical issues on the fly, because they're going to crop up. There are a lot of issues with connectivity, or whether you're porting to a camera, or what type of equipment do you need to put on the best live stream, and just being able to figure out a little bit of the technical side, I think is hugely important.
Yeah, so I have a guy who comes to a lot of races, he's a friend of mine, and he's a very fast runner. So entirely not technically inclined. So you gotta be fun. One day I showed him how to use the stabilizer button on the iPhone video. And that's been life-changing for us, because now he'll send us clips when he's tracking the leaders and they're not super shaky. But it's just small little things like that that can be a big improvement. And also, if you don't have that good gimbal of any kind, they're not crazy expensive. I think you have someone here at home just for that iPhone. Is that here? Yeah. Something like that. Something like that can make your shots look pretty professional, even if you're just using a phone. But yeah, stabilization is key.
Amy, you got a question? Yeah. Amy, sorry, could you grab a mic? Yeah, there's one here. One here. It's not on yet, I think.
So what would be like the perk? I bought a gimbal. I didn't love it, and then I bought an Insta360, and it's I'm obsessed. It's like changed the game for me. Do you feel like there's a benefit of one versus the other, or like easier to use?
With this, what are you doing with it? You're just filming content and then later producing it?
Yeah, so like I'll take it out with me
Yeah.
when I'm marking the course, or
totally.
like even on race day, once the runners take off, someone usually runs with them with the 360, and then I usually go bop around, grab some footage of the front runners and come back.
And that's kind of an interesting thing, because like you're doing the right thing for sure. I think when it comes to streaming, it's almost like as a separate thing, because like for instance, when I mentioned my friend who's running around capturing those clips, like he might capture 10 seconds and then send it to me, or we put it on the Instagram live. But when it comes turns to like your Insta360 is going to have an awesome picture. To take that picture, if you were ever to take it live, it's not going to push in that resolution. So why I mentioned the gimbal for like an iPhone is because that iPhone can be live in the moment to help with that. But so we kind of do both, where we might have a system dedicated to recording, or obviously have a videographer who's out there videoing, of course, and capturing all those things, but it's not being pushed to the stream. So we have those kind of separate devices that do that, and there's some crossover where we might do both at the same time.
That makes sense.
Amy, before you hand the mic off, then could you just? I was thinking there might be some people in the audience who don't know what a 360 is.
It's a sick camera, and it's like it's pretty sick. It's on like a big extending stick, and it records 360 degrees around you. So it literally takes no skill. Like I have no, I like things to look nice, but I have no background in cameras that confuse me. I mean, even the gimbal kind of confused me a little bit. Like I was like, oh, there's a lot of buttons going on here. So you just stick it up, hit record, and send it with the runners, like whether it's you or someone else, and then you can edit the viewpoint you want later.
Insta360. not
I
that
was
good.
really like I run with it almost all the time when I'm on the trails now.
Yeah. So I run with a full frame, like large frame, like big lens, you know, the whole gimbal. Like I've done that before, and it's very, very, very heavy, and you know, most people aren't they're gonna see what you see and it's like, man, that looks awesome, and then I'm gonna have my thing, and it's like, maybe it looks a little better if you look really closely, but it's also very, very heavy, cumbersome.
Yeah, I bet. So would you say that it's a good plan to do some kind of test run for race directors that have not done this before?
Yeah.
Not wait until race day and then, then find out.
You want to get familiar with it. Even if you're using, you know, like OBS, I think we talked about in the webinar, like just free switching software. It's pretty easy to use, but you know, we're all busy on race day. It's the last thing you want to sit down and troubleshoot if you don't have somebody dedicated to that. And then also you don't know how, like you might be out there on the trail like, oh, it looks like I have decent cell service to stream on Instagram Live, but that could change the day of, and you just don't know how it's going to react. And you don't want to be out there like, we're going to live stream this, and then it's just kind of like real choppy or it doesn't work because you've got that many people in one space, cell towers and all that, so editing should be tested. And even if you do that, you're still going to learn. You're going to get out there and you do it over and over, and you're like, oh, there's a better way to do that, or oh, if I did it this way, it's going to work more successfully.
Right.
You're never going to get it right the first time, no matter how much you practice. It's very, very different on the field.
Cool, thanks. Dan, any more to add on that one?
Yeah, so when we stream our lottery in early December, I think we do 3 or 4 practice runs to make sure that all of the equipment is connecting, that everything on OBS is ported correctly, that we're sending the right links to certain people, because we have a couple people behind the scenes who there's a few different pieces of software you can use that are free, open source, easy to use. One is OBS. It's free to download on their website. That's what allows you to put overlays on your video, to put graphics that scroll across the bottom, to add branding, to add sponsors onto those images. And then the other one is something like, it's called Video Ninja. You can send out links to people and then port those links into the OBS software, so that way you can show somebody out in the field or somebody remote that's looks like Evo is here, and you can port all of those videos and have them all stitched together in OBS, and you're pushing back to your YouTube stream, so that way you're showing all of the right information.
Yeah, another plug for Video Ninja. It's like video in JA, right?
Yeah.
And you, like, I'll just send a link out to whoever is going to be there, and they just click that link, select their phone's camera, and then we see it on our end, and they go live on the trail with an iPhone, as long as we have, assuming decent connectivity.
Hello, Dylan, can you hear us? Oh,
yeah,
It looks like
okay.
He's out for a run.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hey guys.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at me. I'm actually trail running right now. What do you think?
Well, it looks like a blue sky day for you, mate.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Dylan, I'm so sorry. So sorry. It sounds like we got timing wrong for you, so I do apologize.
Yeah. Hey, no worries. It happens. I'm sorry too. I was trying to squeeze in a long one here today. My brother's getting married tomorrow, so I figured, let's get some outside time while I can. I was really looking forward to the panel though. So if there's anything I can contribute here, I know you guys are getting close to the end, but happy to add my 2 cents if it's helpful.
Okay, so we do have one question for you. So hopefully you can hear us loud and clear. As someone that hosts events and manages a media company, where are the places you feel race directors can best optimize the media coverage surrounding an event?
Well, number one, I would say that media, I think, is the biggest channel through which we have marketed our events. We are a media company first, and we partner with Daybreak Racing both on Gorge Waterfalls and on the Big Alta. Of course, Gorge Waterfalls had a legacy before us. We acquired the race from the previous owner, James Varner, and have been operating it now for, this will be our 5th year, I want to say, in 2026. But like the Big Alta, we started from scratch. So I think that has been a great example of how us being able to leverage our media channel to grow an event has been really effective. We announced just this week, obviously, the expansion of that race. We added 100K distance. I didn't check this morning, but as of yesterday, we had, I think, 140 people sign up for that already. It will sell out, I would guess, in the next month or so. Of course, we benefit from having the race in a beautiful place, and it's a great course, but at the same time, I do think there is an advantage in being able to kind of get the word out in the way that we do. So, again, I'm not a professional race director, and I acknowledge that most of the people who are listening right now will know a lot more than me about the actual functional operation of a race. But I would say that leaning into content creation is definitely an investment worth making. I think obviously we all know about the success of Aravaipa, Mountain Outpost, and they've really provided a blueprint, I think, that a lot of other race directors could follow. Of course, it is complicated, requires investment, requires equipment, requires know-how, expertise, manpower. But in my mind, it's something that all race directors should be considering. Hope that helps.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant, Dylan. Thank you. So appreciate you taking a pause in your long run.
Yeah.
Okay, got one more question. We've got a couple of minutes before we're due to finish. From your perspective, are there any cameras or technology you feel are a must-have for success in day event coverage? Now, I'm thinking of this from a race director who maybe hasn't got a big budget, so a smaller budget. Is there something that you would recommend that they should look at?
Yeah, this is a great question, and it's funny because, yeah, like I said, we are a media company first, but I myself personally am kind of a caveman on this stuff, and so if I can use certain pieces of technology, it means that I think most non-professionals could also. Obviously, like just a simple iPhone can do 99% of the work, and if you get a gimbal to put your iPhone on, DJI makes a couple of really quality products there. I know Aravaipa deploys those quite often, and we've used those when we've collaborated on live streams together. And that allows you to just, kind of tap into the streaming software that they use. But also, for example, in the past, we've done simple live streaming just through Instagram Live. And I think that is maybe the easiest point of entry for a lot of race directors. If you're active on Instagram, which I think most event organizers are at this point, consider just like going on Instagram Live, and you have this sort of ready-made live streaming product that all trail runners more or less already utilize. And then the second thing that we've been using a lot recently is also from DJI, and it's called the Pocket Osmo camera. That I think $600-700, so not a massive expense, and it's incredibly easy to use, just sort of like an alternative to a GoPro, a much better GoPro that has even integrated microphones. So we use it in a lot of different applications with what we do. So yeah, just like a simple iPhone gimbal is great. And then that Pocket Osmo camera is great. You can shoot both vertical for social media and horizontal for longer form YouTube stuff. And again, like if I can use those two products, I think really anybody can, because that's really my weakness is the technology. So
I believe Dale had a question for you.
Oh, there you go.
sure.
He's coming up to the mic.
All right.
Amy's got. Oh, it's on stand. Okay. Yeah, we got Dale Garland just running to the mic now. Hold on.
Yeah, if you go, that's as far as I'm going to run. So,
Yeah.
how you doing?
Hey, Dale.
I want to kind of pivot, if I can, a little bit and talk about one of the things that I think Dan mentioned. And it comes to mind because of my relationship with Dylan. I think one of the other things as people get into this business, we talk about privacy and knowing when to take pictures and when to not, when to live stream and when not to live stream. And I think that we, as an event, we try to do some things, but I think one of the other things that is really important is there are certain times in everybody's events that they just don't want to be live streamed, or they do. And Dylan, I know you and I have a specific example that we could probably talk about in terms of your comfort with being live streamed or being filmed. But I think as race directors, it's not giving, we've got to be really conscientious of when people are having down times or times that aren't. They're very emotional, but they may not be appropriate.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got any feelings on that, Dylan, at all on that.
Yeah. Did you hear that, Dylan?
I did hear that, and thanks for bringing it up, Dale, and good to hear from you. I hope you're doing great. I put my name in the lottery last week, so you know, I'm
Nice try.
I'm out here getting ready, you know. So no, yeah. So yeah, no, I think you bring up a good point, and there have been a couple of examples. You know, I think just privacy in terms of, you know, your physical space is important. And, you know, there was an example at UTMB where a pro athlete was actually changing her clothes going into the night, and the camera happened to be there. I'm sure it was unintentional, but still, like, one of those moments where you just sort of like, you know, you sort of scratch your head and just think like, oh man, that was, you know, unfortunate given the size of that audience. Of course, you know, what you're more referencing though, Dale, is like, yeah, some of these races can be really challenging, you know, physically and emotionally. Sometimes athletes are on camera in an aid station as things are unraveling for them and as their goals are going out the window. And there, I think it's less black and white, right? Like one of the compelling things about sport is that human drama, that human element. So, you know, I think there is opportunity to strike a balance between bearing the reality of those moments, you know, so long as an athlete feels comfortable. And I think what people who are, you know, executing live streams just need to be cognizant of is to whether or not the athlete is open to having that part of their story told. I think some athletes are definitely open to it and don't have a problem showing some of the less triumphant moments from their professional careers, but also, you know, others who probably don't want a camera on their face as, you know, the biggest goal of their season and, you know, of their career is coming to a screeching halt. So I think that's one of those moments where you just have to use your best judgment and also even just rely on the feedback of the athlete. I think you could probably judge mostly from their body language whether they want you around, but also if you're unsure, I don't think it's bad to say, hey, is this okay? Is it okay that I'm filming you right now? And I think most people would give you an honest yes or no in that moment. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, more and more live streaming is, I think it's the single biggest thing that's transforming our sport. I've like thought about writing a long piece about this, just about how, you know, sports media really is the thing that grows sports out of pure endemic audiences into broader mainstream audiences. And I think that is really what's happening now. The Western States broadcast this year we doubled in viewership again. I think it was 1.5 million people viewed the race. So clearly people who are not participants in the sport are finding this human drama part of it really compelling. And so showing it, I think, is important. So just kind of finding the balance between you know, showing that the real reality and also respecting privacy. It's not always an easy balance to strike, but I think something that, you know, isn't impossible also.
Brilliant. Thank you, Dale. Dylan, great comments, and Dale, great question from you as well there. Okay, folks, we've unfortunately it's time for us to wrap up, Dylan, but really appreciate you joining us from your run, and
yeah, Thank you guys so much. I hope the event is great. Our colleague Travis Longcar is in the audience there. I encourage people to chat with him. He's great on all the technology and fantasy stuff, and hope to make it to a future event myself. So thanks for allowing me to participate.
Okay. All right, Dylan. Take care, mate. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.